folks, welcome to Answers Life. I hope everybody's doing great today. I'll put myself up here for you guys. I got a house to show you guys today. It's in Anderson, Indiana, a place I'm very familiar with. Now, the other day, I believe, I made a video discussing some of the shenanigans that are currently going on in the housing market. And this is one of them. And this is the reason why I encourage most people to not purchase a house right now and to wait to purchase a house later. Now, by all means, if you come across a property and it's truly a deal and a good bang for the buck, go for it. But this house is not that house. Now I know some idiot from California, they're going to look at this house and they're going to think it's a deal. Or maybe some knucklehead investor might think this is a deal because when they buy this house, they're going to use a loan, not their own money. But for those of you that got some sense and you're looking to purchase a home, for those of you that are getting a little desperate to purchase a home, even for those of you that kind of like myself, you're looking for an investment property, you're looking to perhaps make a little extra money because you want to fund your kids' college fund or vacation fund or whatever you're trying to do financially, this is not the house you want to buy. And I'm going to tell you why. I mean, first of all, I think the asking price is completely out of line. It's ridiculous. It's way too much money. And from anybody that is familiar with the housing market in Anderson, these people want almost $83,000 for this house. And it's too much money. It's too much money. And let me tell you why. Before I even show you any pictures, first we're going to go to the information. But we're going to see let's see what they got to say. Great rental property or fix and flip. The fact that they mentioned fix and flip, that's the indication right there that the property is going to need some work. Bear that in mind. And before I go any farther, I will tell you straight up, Central Avenue is I would say it's at best a C minus neighborhood. It's a C minus neighborhood. C minus D, that's the category I would put that neighborhood in. But anyways, fix and flip. That tells you right there that the house needs work. Okay, lots of space, 2-bedroom home with large rooms. Switch that out. Beautiful built-in cabinets, separate. I'm just reading this real quick. Okay, let's keep on going. I'm going to just show you guys the important pieces of information. The lot size is relatively small. You only get 5,848 square feet, not even 6,000 square feet of land. You do get a one-car garage. That's always a good thing. Let's see if they show the property taxes. Okay, your taxes are going to be $684 for the year. I would bet that your taxes are going to be double that amount. Because this amount could reflect somebody that may have been an owner occupant. Or even if they rented it out, they didn't let nobody know that they were using it as an investment property. But this could be the right number, $684 for the year. But I'm willing to bet it's probably double that. But do your due diligence? Let's see. Let's keep on going. Okay, flood factor. Ding, ding, ding. Here is one huge reason why you do not want to buy that property. The flood factor is moderate. So there's a moderate chance that if it rains a lot or it snows a lot, you might have flooding issues, which means the foundation may have some issues. Now I know if you hire a real estate agent, a lot of them are going to try to tell you, oh, they just say that it may not mean nothing, blah blah blah. But for me, when I'm looking at buying a house, if it's got moderate under flood, I'm not touching the damn thing. And now this is you. So let's go back up here. I want to see some history here. Okay, this is the tax history. Okay, here's the price history, which I thought they. Let's see this. Make this smaller. Okay, I thought I saw some other numbers, but I think that's for another house I looked at before. Let's keep going. I'm thinking about another house for the price history. But anyways, let's keep going. Here are some pictures. Here's the house. Now, when you look at the house when you look at the house with your naked eye, I can tell that it's going to need another roof. Here's the back of the house, and off the top of my head, if you have to replace a roof, you're probably looking at least $15,000. I mean, just by the design of the house, you're probably looking at 15 grand, at least 15. Now, here's the inside. Now, when you look at the ceiling, you got a little bit of crack in the drywall. Let's keep going. Now, it looks like they may have done a little bit of painting. Okay, at some point, somebody replaced the floors, but I can't tell whether these floors are new or not. Here's your kitchen. It looks like somebody did some light renovations, or some light painting, at least. Here's your bathroom. Well, I'm gonna be honest. Although I don't think the house looks bad, at least the parts they show you, the parts that they show don't look bad. I still wouldn't buy it for no $82,900 for two reasons. I mean, well, the main reason is it's on Central Avenue, and Central Avenue is a very busy street. So if you bought a house on that street, it's very busy. You're gonna always hear traffic. There's gonna always be people out and about walking around. I mean, it's just a noisy neighborhood. And secondly, due to the work that the house needs, it's not worth that kind of money. And this house, oh, well, let me point out one thing here. Well, yeah, this house used to be a rental. So who knows what the house might smell like once you walk in. And who knows whether the floors are going to be solid or they're going to be spongy. But yeah, I would not buy this house at no 82,900. And these are the kind of shenanigans that are going on in this current real estate market. You got you got these investors buying up these properties for dirt cheap, and they're jacking up the price. Now, when I look at let's see here, and I believe that there's way more to the price history than what is being displayed. I mean, they built the house in 1895. So this house was owned by, I'm sorry, no. This house was built in 1895. Now I know there were other people between the time this house was built to the time that the house is currently listed that there's been people that have purchased and sold the house in between. It's just that for whatever reason, they're not showing that information. So when you look at this, you're thinking, okay, it's a one owner house, everything is good to go. No. And even if it was a one owner house, or the house may have been in the same family for tons and tons of years, that does not necessarily mean that the house is in good condition. It does not necessarily mean that the people that own that house took good care of it. Because I've walked into houses that were owned by the same family since new, and by the time the house was on the market, it looked like shit. So, FYI, let's keep going. See if I can give you at least one more. You know what? I'm gonna pick on this house. Again, it's in Anderson. Again, they're asking 82,000. They were asking 84 and a half. They were asking 84,500, but they lowered it by two, so now they're asking 82. I mean, this house, the lot size is even smaller. It's a 4,356 square foot lot. It's on West 3rd Street, which I would rate this. I would rate this probably a C minus slash D neighborhood. I mean, yeah. So, anyhow, let's see what they got to say. Investor opportunity. That right there goes to let you know that the property is going to most likely need a little bit of TLC. Currently tenant occupied. Again, if I'm looking at buying a house, I don't care if it's for personal reasons or if it's for investment purposes. I do not want a tenant occupied property. And I'll tell you why. For starters, I prefer to put my own tenant in the property. And secondly, the fact that these people are selling the property with the tenant still in it indicates to me, and I could be wrong, but I'm probably right. But to me, it indicates that the tenant either A, they have not been paying their rent like they're supposed to. They've been, and rather than the landlord having to pay for an eviction and go through the courts and all that garbage, they just rather sell the house to somebody else. And then whoever buys a house, now they have to endure the issue with a non-paying tenant that's probably trashing the house. Or another thing that could be going on, or it could even be a combination of both, is even if the tenant is paying even if the tenant is paying their rent, the house might have a lot of issues. Like maybe the house has got a lot of issues. Maybe a lot of things in the house is falling apart. And again, rather than the landlord kicking out the tenant and having to go through all that madness, it's easy. I mean, it's easier for the landlord slash investor to sell the house with the tenant in it, and then whoever buys the house, now it's going to be that person's issue to deal with the tenant and also deal with the house that potentially might be falling apart. So for those two reasons, and again, it's speculation, but I think I'm onto something. I would not buy that house. Now let's see what they gotta say. Investor opportunity, currently tenant occupied. Lease in place through July 9th of 2026. Hell no, I'm not buying that house. That's too damn long. Beat the 1% rule. Man, fuck that 1% rule. They get the fuck out here with that. Attractive single family home offering 2 rooms, 1 full bath, a generously sized room with tall ceilings throughout. Additional features include I'm looking for something significant to point out to you guys. So I'm going to read it quietly. If I find something significant, I'll read it out loud again. Currently tenant occupied with an active lease expiring July 9th, paying $950 per month. That's what they're charging. It doesn't necessarily mean that the tenant's been paying. Like I said before. And all that 1% rule BS that they talking about, that don't mean shit to me either. That's just a bunch of bibbly blob. Okay, you have to give them a 24 to 48 hour notice. Don't disturb the tenant, blah, blah, blah. Let's see here. All right, let's keep on going. Here's okay, well, your property taxes, according to the table, will be $737 for the year. Again, I would double that to $1,400 or some change. I would double that because I can almost guarantee these numbers are not accurate. Okay, here's some history here, and this is important here. This right here will tell you a lot about the property. It'll tell you more than what you think. Okay, the property was first listed in 2023 during the housing boom, during the time that that flippers were buying up houses like hotcakes and flipping them and throwing them together and putting it right back on the market. I mean, in the Midwest, it's still going on. But anyways, okay, the house was listed for 29,900. It sold for 22,000. Okay, well, looks like they flipped it because they sold it for 22 grand, and then somebody went right behind them and purchased it for 125 grand. So they flipped it for a little over $100,000 profit, and now the person who currently owns it, they paid 125 grand according to the records here. So now they went from paying 125 grand to now they're going to sell it for 84,500. So this individual is willing to lose. Let me do some math here. Let's see, 25. Let's see, 35. So this person is willing to lose a little over $40,000 on their investments. They're willing to lose a little over 40,000 bucks. In fact, let me make sure that I'm correct here. I'm gonna rip out my calculator and make sure I'm correct. $25, 1, 2, 3, minus 125,000 minus 84,500. No, minus. Know what? Minus 82. Yeah. Okay. So this investor is willing to lose $43,000 on their investment. They paid 125 grand. When they first listed it, they listed it at 84,500. They couldn't get 84,500, so they brought the price down to $2,500 to 82 grand. So this person is willing to lose $43,000 on their investment. So the fact that they're willing to lose so much money, like I said, it tells me that either A, the tenant has not been paying like they're supposed to, B, the house is constantly falling apart, or C, it could be a combination of both. So before you think, okay, there's a tenant in place, I'm only gonna have to pay 82 grand, and I got it's automatic cash flow, and then they talking about that 1% rule. That's what I'm saying, man. They can miss me with that 1% rule BS. The house has been on the market for 73 days. I mean, in a market like Central Indiana, if this house was truly a good deal, it wouldn't have been on the market for 73 days. It would have probably been pending after 3 days. I'm just saying. But let's look at some pictures. Because sometimes the pictures can tell you a thing or two. Okay, well, you look at the outside, it's got what I call the Central Indiana flipper colors. You got the black roof with the white siding. Because there's a lot of houses in central Indiana that when they flip them, they paint the window edges white. They put a black roof on yeah, they put a black roof on it. I'm just curious about the straw. Why do they got base of straw in the front of the house? I'm curious about that. But let's keep going. Okay, when you look in this room, you look up in the ceiling. The ceiling looks like it's kind of dipping down a little bit. Okay, they got the typical flipper colors with the off-color gray and white trim with the plank floors. Okay, it looks like again the ceiling tends to be dipping down a little bit. I mean, maybe it could be the angle of the picture, but let's keep going. See, it doesn't see in this room. I don't see it, but in this room again, it looks like the ceiling's dipping down a little bit. Okay, let's keep on going. Okay, looks like when you look in the corner there, looks like some of these tiles are, well, not that it's a big deal, but they look a little loose. All right, folks, here's the point that I want to make of these pictures that I just showed you. Let me go back up to the top here. All right, this house was a flip. So, like I said earlier in the video, this house was a flip. So, it looked like, whoever bought the house, they flipped it, sold it to some investor, and that investor put a tenant in the house. I don't know how many tenants they had in the house, probably only a couple. And most likely, the house most likely is falling apart because whoever flipped it probably did a super quick, fast, half-assed job. Like I told you guys the other day, I hate house flippers. I can't stand them because all they do is they buy these houses and they flip them, and for the most part they do a half-assed job, and then they jack up and then they contribute into the increased price of housing. So you got the poor buyer paying a premium price for a house like this that they probably did a shit job with. They did a shit job flipping. So yeah, like I said, I can't stand a house flipper. I hope they all go out of business because most of them, they're just shitty people. But anyways, that's what I think is happening to this property. Like I said in the video, I'm not gonna say it again. I'm sounding like a broken record right about now. All right, folks, that's all I got for you guys. I've been here long enough. Hopefully, you guys get something out this video. I know I'm harsh, but it is what it is. I'm not taking it easy on these people that wanna cheat people. They wanna contribute into jacking up the cost of housing for people that genuinely need a home for their families. I'm not taking it easy, especially in the city of Anderson. My people be in Anderson, so I'm not taking it easy, man. If these flippers, if these investors, I hope they all go broke. All right, stay easy, stay blessed.